If you guys got questions, I think that I have answers. We'll see. We'll see if I have answers. Strongman exercises for back and biceps. Strongman exercises for back and biceps. That's a great question. So for strongman training, I'm sure there's going to be other questions on diet for those of you that are tuning in for that, for those of you that tuned in for that. Let me get this question knocked out. Strongman exercises for the back and biceps. So for biceps, a strongman athlete or a strength athlete is going to want to train the biceps heavy. You really want the biceps to be able to handle the sport that you're in. A lot of times people's grips give out because there's weak links in the chain, and a lot of times your bicep will actually give out. A football player going and grabbing somebody and trying to grab somebody and trying to hold on to them, oftentimes they'll like tear their pec because they get too far away. The person gets too far away. People like J.J. Watt and some of these guys have injured themselves very severely, and a lot of times it could be the grip is weak, is part of a weak link. It could be the forearm, and it could be potentially the bicep. So to have strong biceps for strongman, you're going to want to do reverse curls, incline curls, and hammer curls. Not only those kinds of curls, but those are going to be the ones that you're going to want to focus on because those will build up, those will fatten up your biceps. Those will make your biceps thick. My biceps used to be so much better, but unfortunately I tore these suckers a couple times, and all I can do is talk about the past. But you want thick, strong, functional biceps. You're going to want to do reverse curls, incline curls, and hammer curls. Those are all very critical, and then train them heavy. In terms of lower back exercises for strongman, well, you have to be very accustomed to deadlifting. One thing I want to point out before moving forward is that the back is kind of misunderstood. Everyone's always trying to train it so heavy. But if you want a fully functional back and you want a back that doesn't hurt all the time, you got to do really, really high reps because your back is involved in every single thing that you do pretty much all day long. So your back is comprised of a lot of, like, I would say, like stamina muscles, really, of slow twitch muscle fibers and stuff like that. So when you're training your back, you want to, in addition to training it heavy so it can get stronger, you also want to try to train it for reps. And I would look to Stuart McGill. Stuart McGill has fantastic information. And I know someone would be like, why would I listen to Stuart McGill, who is a doctor slash chiropractor slash like back doctor, back surgeon? Like, why would I listen to him for strongman information? Well, because you need to have a healthy back to be an awesome strongman athlete. Also, you know, look at some of the people that have been around, you know, like Eddie Hall and some of these people that have built these tremendously strong backs. They're going to have great information for you, and they have a lot of videos on their, like, you know, how they train and all that stuff. You can also check out my stuff, markbell.com. I've never had a back injury. Well, not never had a back injury. I have had a back injury, but it was a long ass time ago. I've been very safe. I haven't had a back injury that's happened from the gym. I should say that. I've felt very healthy and felt very good. I've had mid-back and upper back stuff, but nothing with the lower back. So if you want to follow along, you can check out markbell.com. I got a lot of great information over there on how you should be training. Tips for falling asleep faster after heavy sessions. So this brings up a great point. I'm really thankful. Joe Nerd, I think your name is. I'm having a hard time seeing at this point in the day. Eyeballs are getting a little lazy on me. But anyway, you bring up an excellent point. So when you train heavy, you are really kind of switching your body over into this kind of crazy mode, and you really stressed yourself out. And there's been lifters over the years. There's been great lifters over the years, myself included. I would include myself in that greatness. When I was lifting heavy and when I was training hard like that, man, I had a hell of a time falling asleep. But reason number one why I had such a hard time falling asleep was all the caffeine and all the stuff I used to like hype myself up for the workout. And the music was blaring. You know, we had some, you know, hardcore metal on, or we had some hardcore, you know, rap where it's mother F this, mother F that, and it's real intense and it's real over the top. Well, how in the hell are you supposed to fall asleep after that, right? Think about like if somebody just blared, you know, music right into your ear as you're trying to go to sleep. It would be very obvious to you. You'd get up and be like, what the hell, man? I'm trying to get some rest here, right? But those things are still playing in your head as if someone's blaring a boom box in your ear. So you have to figure out, how do I come down from all this? How do I relax? How do I decompress? And there's many ways to decompress. Different people have different strategies. Something so simple that doesn't include anything odd or strange or doesn't sound weird. Because I know sometimes when I suggest that you meditate, sometimes people are like, everyone's talking about meditation, I don't know. And maybe you just struggle with it and you haven't practiced it that much, right? I would encourage you to practice it because it can be very useful. It can be very helpful. But something so simple is just to take a shower. Take a shower, and when you're in the shower, don't think about anything. Use that as some form of meditation. Get in the shower, let the shower relax you, let it be a time to rejuvenate, and literally think of your body as think of your body having a power meter, just like your phone or just like a video game. And think about your health meter going whoop, whoop, whoop. It's starting to fill up more green rather than be red. Because this is the end of your day, and you know what you're doing? You're washing everything away. I know it sounds silly, I know it might sound a little funny to you, but this is the way that I think. I'm washing everything away. I'm washing, not necessarily, the day is good. There's really not a lot of negative things that happened or anything like that, but I'm washing myself clean of the different stresses that I had. And a lot of the stresses I have are actually very good, like the stresses of shooting these videos, the stresses of selling t-shirts, the stresses of keeping the website going, the stresses, they're all actually very positive stresses. They feel really good, but they're stresses nonetheless. Training is a huge stressor. Lifting weights is a huge stressor. And so if you have access to a hot tub, that would be fantastic. If you have access to like a steam room or a sauna, anywhere where you can kind of just, don't invite anybody else in on any of this stuff. Like just go, not into the shower, but into the hot tub or just try to go do it by yourself. No phone, no headphones, just be weird for a few minutes and just really try to relax. I want everybody that's listening right now, I would love for you to practice this right now. This is something that you can work on. And you can work on it right now, and you can work on it for the next couple of days. Within the next 3 or 4 days, I want you to record, I want you to pay attention, and then write it down in your phone, talk to your phone, whatever you got to do, write it down somewhere. I want you to mark down a time where you felt really insanely over the top relaxed. I want you to write that down, and then I want you to report back to me. If possible, try to do it for a week and see how many times it happens. I can almost guarantee it is probably very, very rare for most of you. I know it's rare for me. I know it's rare for me. There's times where I go to the movie theaters with my kids, and I sit there and I'm like, man, I feel incredible. I feel so relaxed. I feel so good. I had a good training session earlier that day. Maybe I had a decent business meeting. I did a couple things before I got there. I'm out with my family, having a good time. No one else is talking. The movie's just starting to go. My phone is off. I'm not sitting there messing around with my phone as the movie's playing. I'm just completely relaxed. The problem with that is that's the only time that usually happens for me. So I need to get better at this practice. And so thank you so much for the question, because now I better, I got to kind of up my game as I'm sharing this information out with you guys. I think this is massively important. Training's important, but recovery from it is massively important. And that's part of the reason why I've come to a lot of the conclusions I've come to when it comes to training. I train nearly every day. I train, I train at a good intensity. I wouldn't even say hard, because you know what? It's really not hard. And the reason it's not hard is because I have leveled up to it. It's taken some time, right? You're going to level up to these things over time as well. and everything will get a little bit easier for you. But I do put a good intensity into each workout, and I'm able to recover from each workout. I'm able to still get the sleep that I need. So for this question, how do you get to sleep faster? There's not a supplement you can take for it. Some people might share information and say, hey man, take magnesium, and you can get your blood work done, and you can take magnesium, you can take zinc, and those things, they might assist a little bit. But if your mind is still racing, if your mind is still dancing, and you're still thinking about the day, and you're still stressed from the day, you ain't going to sleep. So knock that stress out, whatever way you have to. I gave you a bunch of suggestions there: hot tub, sauna, a shower. I think a shower is like the easiest. That's the easiest one. And you might have to do it a little earlier than you think. That's kind of the last note there on that, is rather than doing that at like 8 or 9 and then being like, oh, I'm going to be in bed at 10 or 11. No. Do that stuff. Do it, maybe even like before dinner, and really wind yourself down and really talk to yourself a little bit have a conversation in your head about how the day is going to end. Have a conversation in your head. Okay, having dinner with the wife and the kids, and then when that's over with, gonna kind of chill, watch some TV, and then have a plan with your phone. Okay, you know what? No phone. Okay. All right. Well, if I need emergency text to shoot out, I can do it, but not past this time. Set some guidelines for yourself. Favorite wrestling finishing move? Well, that's kind of obvious. Favorite wrestling finishing move is the stink bomb. That's my own move, the full Nelson slam. Easy enough question to answer. Thank you for that, though. Appreciate it. I saw somebody fire out a question. It wasn't in the question box. It's an illegal question, and you were disqualified. You're off the team. But I'll still answer it. I saw that you said something about shoulder impingement, and you wanted to know what to do for shoulder impingement. So the key with shoulder impingement is you have an imbalance, most likely, and your shoulder's kind of rotated forward. It's internally rotated forward a little bit. So what you have to start to think about is you have to do some boring exercises. You want to do some rotator cuff stuff. But one of the most important things is just to make sure that your shoulder is very much warmed up for the workout that you're about to do. The single biggest problem with training is that people have a belief that their body is trained up to do certain things that it's not yet prepared for. So you always want to take, and that's not a crack at anybody, you always want to take the necessary steps to make sure that you're always leveling up, because training should never be that hard. It shouldn't really be hard. You should be able to define it with words like intensity, with words like volume. What does intensity refer to? Intensity doesn't refer to blasting a bunch of music. Intensity refers to the amount of weight that's on the barbell. It refers to the load that's on the barbell. So that's the way you want to start to think about your training sessions, and that's the way you want to figure out, how do I get myself stronger? How do I make myself more prepared for that next training cycle? And then that way you won't have to think about what you have to do to fix your shoulder. Other things you can do for shoulder impingement would be you can discontinue bench pressing for a little while, and you can get some active release therapy. You can have some sort of practitioner of some sort dig in on the area, work on the area and try to get some relief for it. But the main thing to think about when you have an injury is, if you continue to do the same things that you've been doing, you're going to continue to get what you already got, right? So you're going to have to figure out, how do you do something differently? And if you continue just to bench press while your shoulders hurt, or overhead press, whatever the infraction is, whatever the thing is that's hurting your shoulder, you're going to continue to end up in the same spot all the time. So you have to kind of think to yourself, how do I, what could be something different that I could start to do? So if you don't stop doing the same stuff, then the tissue will never have an ability to really repair. So you may have to stop bench pressing for a little bit. I know it's terrible, right? But you could, in the meantime, you could do slingshot bench. You might be able to do some floor presses. You might be able to find some movements that are still valuable, that are still of the bench pressing vein, but not actually bench pressing. This guy says, see you at the Arnold. my OG strong sleeves were stolen. Oh man, we had a sale a few years ago. We need to bring that sale back. It was called My Shit Was Stolen sale. And so we'll have to get that going again, because I've heard people say that before. They're like, they didn't steal anything else except for my slingshot. They knocked the window out of my car. It's like, oh my God, really? Oh, by the way, crazy update that I have for y'all. Maybe I should save this for another time. Well, I'll explain it again somewhere else. I'll actually show it in another video. But Nike, like, this makes me feel so good. I just saw this today, and some of the people here were like, Mark's gonna be pissed. And I wasn't pissed, I was pumped. I was super excited. I walked into my office, and there's a hip circle on my desk. And I was like, oh, look at that, hip circle. And I was like, what? It's got a swoosh on it. It has a swoosh on it. The hip circle has a swoosh on it. I was like, what in the hell is this? And I started investigating it further. I was like, did somebody send this to me? Where did this come from? It's a Nike hip circle. Nike knows who I am. That literally is one of the cooler things that has ever happened. I mean, that is amazing. I thought that was so cool. I really did. And I still think it's cool. I got goosebumps thinking about it. I'll show you guys what it looks like. But man, that's awesome, right? I mean, I made a product that works. Nothing like that existed before, and they came through. Hopefully they knock off the slingshot next, because I have that baby patented. So, well, I guess their lawyers versus my lawyers probably wouldn't work out so good for me. I don't know. But, America roots for the little guy, right? So I would be your Rocky in that case, and you guys would all be cheering for me. Do you eat lean ground beef? I eat ground beef quite a bit. I personally don't like lean ground beef, but you mentioned 80-20. 80-20 is kind of a fatter beef, and that's kind of what I prefer. It depends on where the burgers come from, really. It depends on where these meats come from. It's amazing how much different meat is out there. It's astonishing. And then people are like, oh man, you do the carnivore diet, like there's no variety on that diet. But like, you get to eat chicken, you get to eat bison, you get to eat elk, you get to eat turkey, you get to eat you get to eat eggs, you get to have cheese. I mean, you end up with a really nice list of stuff. And even amongst steaks, I mean, steaks aren't created equal, and burgers aren't created equal either. It really depends on where you get stuff from. Piedmontese, a company that sponsors the podcast, you can use the code MarkBell. You can get 25% off if you want. If you don't want to, that's fine. I don't care. But you can get 25% off over there, and you can get free shipping on orders over $100. But their lean beef, I actually like their lean beef. And I don't usually like lean ground beef. I usually don't like lean ground beef at all. I usually think it's kind of gross. But even I think they have like a 96 or 90, I forget what it is, 92, whatever it is. That stuff is absolutely amazing. And furthermore, Piedmontese has amazing steaks. When it comes to their flat iron steaks, they have a bavette steak that's really good. You probably never even heard of that one. All super lean, like 100 grams of protein and 16 ounces for a bavette steak. I mean, that's amazing. I really love the products that they have over there. But yeah, it's an interesting thing when it comes to meat. You know who also has really good meat is Costco. Costco has amazing beef. My personal opinion and personal thoughts on like grass-fed and grass-finished and stuff, I personally don't worry about it. I think that the important thing is to think about what are your values and what are your beliefs, right? So if your values and your beliefs are towards regenerative agriculture and caring more about the planet, then that might be where you want to spend your dollars. And that might mean that the animal is grass-fed and grass-finished. So you got to do more digging and more investigating to kind of find what vibes with you and what feels right to you. I love In-N-Out Burger, but with all the investigation that I've done, which hasn't been a lot, I've done a bunch of searches on the internet, just like you guys could do. But I will investigate them further, and I'll try to get to some people that can talk to them more. all the information I have is that their burgers are fresh. Same thing with Wendy's. Wendy's is the same way. Their burgers are fresh. They're never frozen. I don't know how they do it, but that's what they say. That's what they advertise. And even in looking at articles that have been done by other people that have no interest in In-N-Out Burger or Wendy's doing well, they all say the same thing. You know, they say that's very much true. And actually, from In-N-Out Burger, they don't even put salt in their burger. They put salt on their burger, but they don't put salt in their burger. Another thing to consider is that, and this might be the most valuable thing, is that burgers that are at like an In-N-Out Burger, they oftentimes, out here in California, they come from places like Harris Ranch. Harris Ranch has a bad reputation towards being destructive. Now, I don't know if that's true. So I could be speaking out of line, but from what I've seen, they're not leaving behind a good footprint, and so that's where you might want to, if you care about the planet. I know a lot of people do. A lot of people care about the sustainability of the planet, and they don't want to f things up too much, right? So if that's a care of yours, then when you're spending your money, maybe you're not always just thinking about your nutrition. Maybe you're also thinking about what it's doing to the environment, if you are a person that cares about that much. I personally, I do care about this planet, but I'm probably going to be selfish, and I'm probably going to do things out of convenience, to be totally honest. But whenever I can make the correct decision, I will. I'll do the best that I can. So I'm just trying to be honest with that. All right, what do we got next here? This guy's asking about what type of coffee do you choose while on carnivore? That's a trick question. There is no coffee on a carnivore diet because it's a plant, right? Tea is a plant, kratom is a plant. We can't do anything. We've got to be very hostile towards those vegetables because we can't have those things surrounding our lives that corrupt us, right? Coffee's fine, any kind of coffee that you like. I personally really like Temple Coffee a lot and Phil's Coffee. Those are local coffee shops out here in California. Not sure what you guys have where you're at, but also I'll go to Starbucks here and there. I'll roll through a Starbucks here and there. I have coffee probably about 3 or 4 times a week. Once I went about 5 or 6 weeks or so without coffee more recently, and it just led me to kind of understand that I don't really care that much about coffee. But I like the act of it. It's not so much I love drinking coffee, but I like the act of it. So those of you on the carnivore diet that want to give it a shot, you can definitely have coffee, and it's not gonna do anything negative to you. Did you shave your face? Yes, I did. I didn't shave it myself. I just stopped at a shop on my way home, and they shaved the whole thing for me. So I got rid of all the fur. Something I wanted to suggest, not sure why this popped into my head, but you guys have seen me at the butcher kind of more than once, and I want to suggest that out to you guys again, because a grocery store is just a giant landmine for those people that have really worked hard on their nutrition, on their diet, to abstain away from junk food. And then now, just think about an alcoholic, going into a bar at happy hour with some of his old buddies, right? It's just too much. It's too intense. So stay out of those grocery stores the best you can, and even make a point to your significant other and say, you know what, I don't even want it. If in your household you shop for different stuff for your kids or for other people in the home, I would make it a point and say, look, can we work on this together? I don't even want to shop for those foods. When I shop, I'm just going to go to a butcher. And I think that will help a lot of people make better decisions. And on top of that, the meat at a butcher is freaking phenomenal. It's so good. How to fix elbow pain from squatting. You can get a compression cuff from MarkBellSlingshot.com, or you can get an elbow sleeve from MarkBellSlingshot.com. In addition to that, things that you can do for free. Well, I'll give you one more thing that you can do for pay, is you can use what's called a Voodoo floss band, and you can find a Voodoo floss band on RogueFitness.com. You can check that out, and you can wrap up the elbow, and then you can kind of do some exercises, light exercises with the arm You can do 3 or 4 sets of that a couple times. You probably have to do it a couple times a day, really, to get that pain out of there. That can be really effective. Another thing that you can do is you could have an active release practitioner work on you, someone who does chiropractic, soft tissue type stuff. That can really be extremely beneficial. Another thing that you could do is try to work with a different barbell. Chris Duffin has the Duffalo bar, safety squat bar, all those kinds of things. The answer that you're looking for, is never a good one. It's never what you want to hear. But like stopping squatting, stopping things that are causing the pain. When we're exercising, we shouldn't have a pain level above 3. You have a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst amount of pain. Training is a process that we're trying to adapt to, and if you're trying to adapt to tons of pain, then you're not doing it correctly, because that's not what it's about. It's not about trying to adapt to tons of pain. It's about trying to adapt to a stimulus. You want a great stimulus. And when there's pain interfering with, it's hard to even get the right message to your body, because it's so darn frustrating that your back is tight or that your elbow hurts. It's really super crazy annoying. So in terms of your elbow pain, a lot of times too, we're missing out on some pieces of the puzzle, which you're missing out on some mobility of your shoulder is really why your elbow hurts in the first place. So check out some stuff from someone like Kelly Surratt, who's got mobility drills and mobility things that you can do. He's going to have a lot of great information on how you can fix your elbow. You can look him up on Instagram. Top 3 upper back lifts for retraction. I think a lot of times people are overthinking like how to train, but when it comes to the upper back, just you got shrugs, you got rows, bent over rows, seated rows. Do a wide variety of things. I have noticed when it comes to upper back that pulling things up a little higher can help. So having the elbow high and having the wrist kind of in line with that, and pulling more towards the pecs can kind of target the upper back a little bit more. So that might be something to give a try to. That might be something that you want to mess with. I don't like face pulls a lot. I don't think they're that great. An upright rows are fantastic for kind of mid and upper back, and I know people don't do them anymore, but those are great. Let's see what else we got. Just any kind of row that you can think of. They're all very impactful. Snatch grip deadlifts can build the crap out of the upper back, but they're brutal, and you pretty much need straps for them, because you're not going to be able to handle a lot of weight. So one of the best upper back and back exercises, period, is any form of deadlifting is going to be absolutely phenomenal. But when it comes to the best, upper and mid back stuff that you can do, just any type of rows, It's going to be the last question we're going to take, and we're going to bring this thing in for a landing. Best way to lose fat around the belly and the chest. Best way to lose fat, period, is to develop habits that are different than the current habits that you have that have gained you the fat. Probably things that might be a little opposite. So instead of consistently meeting people for food, maybe you meet people for a walk. So much is put around our entertainment all the time. Every time you watch TV, every time you go to the movie theater, just kind of anytime you do anything, it's all very much centered around food. Hey, let's grab lunch sometime. And then, I don't know why, but we just eat like shit. So, trying to change the language in your head about food in general. But to lose fat in specific spots, there's probably going to be some research over the next few years that shows that you can lose fat in specific spots, and there's even some bodybuilders that believe that you can. But for the most part, you can't really just be like, hey, I'm going to lose fat from right here. I think that's probably what you're talking about when you're saying chest. You can't really target that, and you can't really work that. You can work the muscles that are underneath it, but you won't see definition, you won't see anything if you have a large amount of body fat. And then belly fat, same thing. You don't get to control where your body holds fat. You can control that over a period of time, but it might take a long time because you can, get hormones in your favor more to where you're not holding fat in those maybe stubborn areas anymore. But in general, the way to lose any fat on your body is the way to lose all the fat on your body. It's the same. You're going to want to try to find a diet that will allow you to eat less and that won't feel that hard. That's one of the things that I love about the carnivore diet. One of my favorite things about a carnivore style diet is the fact that I can be lean year round and the diet doesn't feel that difficult. And I cannot say that about other nutrition plans that I've been on. Most of them have been difficult. Even just any diet where carbohydrates are allowed, I tend to want to overeat them. And I tend to just not be in as good a shape. I tend to not feel as good. This is all just, evidence-based stuff from my own experiences. I can't really speak about how everybody else feels, but this is just how I feel. And so when I'm doing a carnivore style diet, it has been the diet that has helped me with fasting. It's been the diet that's helped me to eat less. I've learned to eat less over a period of time. Eating less is a huge component of it. I don't suggest that you try to eat less all the time because that would be too drastic. I think you should change the amounts of food that you eat. I think losing weight in stages is the smartest way to do it. Lose 5 pounds, take a small break, try not to gain any weight back. Lose 5 pounds, take a small break, try not to gain any weight back, and so on. Do that, do that times 5, do that times 10, and you lost 50 pounds, right? Also, you can just check out my YouTube channel right here at Mark Smelly Bell. I'm providing so much content for you guys every single day, and I continue to try to figure out how I can communicate better, how I can do a better job in giving you guys information, because I know everybody's hungry for it. Everybody wants to be better, right? I want to be better, you want to be better, we all want to be better, and we're all striving for that all the time, and it can be really frustrating when you feel like you don't have the knowledge to do so. So that's all I'm ever trying to do, trying to pass that knowledge along to you. Strength is never a weakness, weakness is never a strength. Catch y'all later.